I, Aishwarya Rani, welcome all of you to this online workshop on teaching of social sciences, focusing especially on economics. I am immensely grateful to Department of Education, Vasanta College for Women, for providing this interactive platform. The following presentation has been prepared by students of B.Ed third semester of batch 2021-23 under the able guidance of Professor Sujata Saha ma'am. It is my pleasure to briefly introduce the topics of today's presentation. Aishwarya Rani will be speaking on the significance of current economic awareness. Rabia Javed will share information about economic citizenship, and again Rabia Javed will talk about the role of an economics teacher in national development. Without further delay, let me request Anima Mandi to begin the presentation.
Significance of current economic awareness.
The whole presentation covers these topics: Introduction to Economic Problems, Central Economic Problems, Current Economic Problems, Importance of Current Economic Awareness, Conclusion. Economic problem is a problem of choice or the problem of allocation of resources. It arises due to scarcity of resources. Resources like labor, land, and capital are insufficient as compared to the demand. Therefore, the economy cannot provide everything that people want. Unlimited human wants. Human beings' demands and wants are unlimited, which means they will never be satisfied. If a person one want is satisfied, they will be start having new desires. People wants are unlimited and keep multiplying. Therefore, cannot be satisfied because of the limited resources. Alternative uses of the resources. Resources being scarce and at the same time resources are used for different purposes, and it is therefore essential to make a choice among resources.
As we know that resources are scarce and they have their alternative uses and human wants are unlimited, thus every economy faces the problem of choices. An economic problem generally means the problem of making choices that occurs because of the scarcity of resources. It arises because people have unlimited desires, but the means to satisfy that desire is limited. Briefly, it is called the problem of resource allocation. It has three variants. They are: first one is what to produce, second one is how to produce, and the third one is for whom to produce. These are known as central problems of the economy. Central economic problems can be briefly explained as: first one is what to produce. A country cannot produce all goods because it has limited resources. It has to make a choice between different goods and services. It is the main problem of allocation of resources. It is related to theory of price. We know that resources are limited and human wants are unlimited. Thus, we cannot produce all goods and services with the help of same resources at the same time, so that we have to decide which wants are taken to be priority. Thus, every economy has to decide what goods and services should be produced. We will take an example. If a farmer has a single piece of agricultural land, then he has to make a choice between two goods, that is, whether to grow rice or wheat. Similarly, our government has to decide where to allocate funds for the production of defense goods or consumer goods, and if both, then in what proportion. Second one is how to produce. It is the problem of allocation of resources. It is related to the theory of production. How to produce means how to organize production. It is concerned with the choices of techniques of production. It arises when there is an availability of more than one way to produce goods and services. There are mainly two techniques of production. The first one is labor intensive technique, in which there is greater use of labor. The second one is capital intensive technique. Under this technique, there is greater use of machinery as compared to the labors. The third one is for whom to produce. It is also the problem of allocation of resources. It is related to the theory of distribution. When we decide what to produce, we cannot escape the problem or the decision regarding for whom to produce. The society cannot satisfy all the wants of the people. Therefore, it has to decide who should get how much of the total output of the goods and services. Thus, society has to make choice of whether luxury goods or normal goods have to be produced.
Apart from central economic problems, these are some current economic problems also prevailing in our country. High public debt. Public debt is a total amount including total liabilities borrowed by the government from the internal as well as external sources to meet its development budget. High public debt leads to a budgetary deficit. Next, balance of payment deficit, which means the nation imports more commodities, capital, and services than it exports. It occurs when the amount of government expenditure is more than the amount of government revenue. Another one, low literacy rate. The literacy rate is defined by the percentage of the population of a given age group that can read and write. According to the census of 2011, Bihar, Arunachal Pradesh, and Rajasthan has the lowest literacy rate in India. Next, decrease in national income and GDP. Gross domestic product is the total monetary or market value of all finished goods and services produced within a country's border in a specific time period. If GDP is slowing down or is negative, it can lead to recession, unemployment, declining business revenues, and consumer spending. Next, high government expenditure. This leads to the current account deficit of the balance of payment and balance of trade. Also leads to the budgetary deficit of the economy. Next, tax evasion. Tax evasion is an illegal way to avoid tax liability, while tax avoidance means taking advantage of loopholes of tax laws. Tax evasion is the root cause of black money that leads to the problem of inflation in the economy.
Problem of unemployment. One of the major social issues in India is unemployment. It is the situation when a person is willing to work and is capable of working as well as actively seeking work but unable to find any work. The estimates of unemployment can be seen with the help of this table 1. Problem of poverty. It is a state or condition in which a person is unable to fulfill even his basic necessities of life. In other words, it refers to the social condition in which a part of the society is unable to fulfill even its basic requirements. The estimates of poverty can be seen with the help of Table 2. Problem of inflation. It means increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy in a particular time period. In India, inflation has taken an alarming shape. Due to this, people are unable to fulfill the basic requirements of their families. Trends in inflation can be shown with the help of this table 3.
Significance of current economic awareness controls inflation and deflation. By better understanding of economic awareness, we can analyze the fluctuation in production activities of an economy. Economic awareness helps in suggesting the policy measures to control inflation and deflation. It is helpful in formulating monetary and fiscal policies. It helps in bringing the equilibrium and stability in price level. Next, counter disequilibrium in balance of payment and balance of trade. It explains factors affecting the balance of payment. It also identifies causes of deficit in balance of payment and suggests measures to control disequilibrium in balance of payment and balance of trade. It helps to solve economic problems like budgetary deficit. By better understanding of economic awareness of a country helps to formulate correct trade policies, economic policies and international economic policies. Next, formulate monetary and fiscal policies. Economic awareness helps in suggesting the policy measures to control inflation and deflation. It is helpful in formulating monetary as well as the fiscal policies of the government and RBI. It helps in bringing equilibrium and stability in the general price level of the economy. Next, determine economic growth of a country. By better understanding of economic awareness, we can analyze the problems that is prevailing in our country. By understanding the economic problems, we can find the way to achieve economic growth and sustain it. By better understanding of economic awareness of the country helps to formulate correct policies for unemployment and poverty, and thus it leads to economic growth of a nation. Increases GDP and economic growth. It helps in understanding that how the level of national income and employment is determined on the basis of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. It also suggests ways to increase national income. It helps in achieving the goal of economic growth, higher level of GDP and higher level of employment. It also analyzes the factors which are responsible for unemployment and forces which determine economic growth of a country. By understanding the economic problems, we can find the way to achieve economic growth and sustain it. Another significance, formulate economic plan of the nation. It helps the government to formulate the economic planning of a country and suggests ways for its proper implementation. It provides information about the contribution of all the three sectors of the Indian economy, that is agriculture, industrial and the tertiary sector, in the gross domestic product of the national income. Next, creates awareness for scarce resources. It generates the awareness of scarce resources among us and suggests ways for the rational management of scarce resources in such a manner that our maximum wants get satisfied. It gives information about the economic systems such as capitalistic, socialistic, and mixed economy. It provides information about the theory of consumer behavior, law of demand, law of diminishing marginal utility, law of supply, theory of consumer surplus, law of maximum satisfaction, theory of indifference curve analysis, law of variable proportion, and returns to scale, which is helpful in generating the awareness of scarce resources among us. Next, it also provides information about market dynamics. It also helps the government in making policies to eradicate poverty like midday meal schemes, policies to counter unemployment rates like Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, National Rural Employment Program, and Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. It gives information about the international organizations like International Monetary Fund, World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, and World Bank. Now we can conclude that economic awareness plays a very important role in our everyday life. Knowing about current economic awareness enables us to understand past, future, and current models and apply them to societies, government, businesses, and individuals. The importance of economic awareness to society cannot be overemphasized because it is a way of life. Economics helps us to understand market operations and how to apply the problem solving skills to the understanding of human behavior in relation to managing its resources. As economic issues influences and affects our daily lives, thus to tackle these economic problems, there is a need for the awareness of current economic situation.
Economic citizenship. The whole presentation covers the topic which include meaning of economic citizenship, introduction to CYFI, CYFI model of economic citizenship, components of CYFI model, importance of economic citizenship, conclusion. Economic citizenship is made up of two words, that is economics and citizenship. Economics is the science that deals with the production, consumption, exchange, and distribution of goods and services. It deals with the study of various activities of man directed towards acquisition of wealth and earning of money. Whereas citizenship refers to a person's full membership in any state in which he or she possesses civil and political rights. It implies a state of liberty with associated responsibilities. Thus, economic citizenship may be defined as a term which is concerned with all the rights and duties of an individual which is connected to economic activities of a country. Economic citizenship as economic and civic engagement promote sustainable livelihood, economic and financial well-being, reduction of poverty, rights for and responsibilities to self and others. Child and Youth Finance International (CYFI) is a non-governmental organization that leads the world's largest movement dedicated to enhancing the financial capabilities of children and youth. CYFI supports the idea that all children and youth must have the possibility to realize their full potential as economic citizens. CYFI's main objective is to give all children and youth the opportunity to make wise financial decisions, accumulate savings, secure a meaningful and sustainable livelihood, and break the cycle of poverty. CYFI model of economic citizenship. The concept of economic citizenship has the potential to improve economic and social well-being increase economic and social engagement, enhance understanding of and respect for basic rights, reduce income and asset poverty, and lead to sustainable livelihoods for children and youth. Child and Youth International Model of Economic Citizenship. This model focuses on how to provide children and youth with the appropriate skills and capabilities required to create a more equal and sustainable world for future generations. It presents the concept of economic citizenship education and the importance of combining financial, social, and livelihood education for the empowerment of children and youth throughout the world. Education for Sustainable Development (ESD) is related to global citizenship education, focusing on creative and constructive solutions to present and future global challenges which create more sustainable societies. This is the model of economic citizenship as given by Child and Youth International. The model of economic citizenship builds on the achievements over the past years in the realm of financial inclusion and education. It complements financial inclusion with a focus on financial, social, and livelihood education, creating a more holistic approach to the economic empowerment of children and youth. The model of economic citizenship consists of four components that are financial inclusion, financial education, social education, and livelihood education. These are the building blocks of empowerment and financial capability that underpin economic citizenship for children and youth. Now, we will briefly discuss each components of CYFI model of economic citizenship. The first component is financial inclusion. It means access to financial products and services that are affordable, usable, secure, and reliable. The other component is financial education. It includes instructions and or materials designed to increase financial knowledge and skills. The other component is financial capability. To be financially capable and fully enhance their own social and economic well-being, people must have financial knowledge and skill as well as to access appropriate financial services. The other important component is livelihood education. It builds one's ability to secure a sustainable livelihood through skills assessment and the balance between developing entrepreneurial and employability skills. The other component is empowerment. It is sense of confidence and efficacy experienced by children and youth through controlling their own lives, understanding and claiming their rights, and having empathy toward others. The other component is social education. It is a provision of knowledge and skills that improve individuals' understanding and awareness of their rights and the rights of others. It also involves fostering of life skills as problem solving, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills. The significance of economic citizenship can be seen in terms of increased financial literacy. By increasing financial literacy, children and youth are better equipped to benefit from formal financial inclusion and economic opportunities. The next importance is balance in all the component. Economic citizenship balances financial, social, and livelihood education and is intended to guide the development and modification of related educational programming. The another importance is improved self-esteem. Social and life skill education and empowerment can improve self-esteem and make children more aware of their rights and responsibilities, along with their unique and important role in the society. The next importance is stimulate entrepreneurial activity. By increasing the financial and business knowledge of children and youth, young people are presented with an opportunity to obtain sustainable livelihood, stimulate entrepreneurial activity, and enhance their level of employability. The last importance is emphasis on knowledge skill. The ECE learning framework employs a right-based approach and emphasizes building the knowledge skill and competence of individual for their economic, social and personal well-being.
Thus, we can conclude that economic citizenship has been proposed as a component of larger socio-economic ideologies. It acts as a mean to securing full economic rights. It opens a path to full political rights, defined as including the former. To attain full economic citizenship, children and youth should be enabled to access the knowledge and skills necessary to correctly manage these products, develop the capacity to build and sustain a livelihood, obtain the support needed for their entrepreneurial ventures, and lay the foundation for making responsible and ethical financial and social decisions. While economic well-being and a sustainable livelihood are important outputs of financial capability, they shouldn't come at the expense of social and environmental well-being. Thus, the development of economic citizenship education is important.
Role of an economics teacher in national development. This presentation covers the topic which includes meaning of national development, indicators of national development, obstacles in national development, roles of an economics teacher in national development, conclusion and references. National development refers to the ability of a nation to improve the life of its citizens. Similarly, it can be seen as the ability for country or countries to improve the social welfare of a people. For example, providing social amenities like quality education, potable water transportation facilities, infrastructure, medical care, etc. The term national development is very comprehensive as it includes all aspects of life of an individual and the nation. It is holistic in approach and is a process of reconstruction and development in various dimensions of a nation and development of individual. Moreover, national development implies development of a nation as a whole. It can be best defined as the all-round and balanced development of different aspects, emphasis of the nation, that is political, economic, social, cultural, scientific, and material.
According to United Nations Decade Report, national development is growth plus change. Change in turn is social and cultural as well as economic and qualitative as well as quantitative.
Now the question arises that how we can estimate the level and pace of national development. So here are some of the indicators which are used to measure national development. The most important is standard of living, which is the amount of goods and services available for purchase in country. The next important indicator is level of income, which is the amount of money earned by a person over a given period of time. Next is level of literacy, which is defined as the percentage of the population of a given age group that can read and write.
The next one is level of infrastructure, the basic system and services that are necessary for a country, for example, building, transport, water, etc. The another one is level of self-reliance. It is the ability to do things and make decisions by yourself without needing other people to help.
Let's see some of the obstacles in national development. The most important concept here is the vicious circle of poverty, the concept introduced by Naqse and others. The essence of the concept is that a country is poor because it is poor. The implication is clear. A country's poverty is itself a major obstacle to growth and development. Because a country is poor, it can't develop. The next obstacle is population problem. The increase in population creates serious problem in those countries where population is already dense in relation to land and other resources. Due to scarcity of capital goods, the growing labor force can't find jobs in the urban areas and just add to their existing labor force in rural areas. The consequence: open and disguised unemployment. As a percentage of labor force increases with the passage of time, the reverse of successful development. The another obstacle is the difficulty of adopting Western technology. The LDCs of the world often face certain difficulties in adopting Western technology. It is so because such technology is not ideally suited to their own condition. Such technology is mainly of capital using type, but LDCs are basically capital scarce. So they can't utilize this technology effectively. Due to the use of such technology is also not possible due to shortage of entrepreneur and skilled personnel, which characterize most LDCs. At the same time, their own technology is outdated.
Another obstacle is lack of preparation for an industrial revolution. For industrial development to take place, the social and economic groundwork must be laid first. But in today's LDCs, attempts are being made to accomplish simultaneously both the industrial revolution and the preparations for such a revolution. In fact, in such countries, agricultural and commercial sectors have not sufficiently developed so as to sustain rapid industrial progress. Moreover, the existing institutions and value systems are hardly conducive to material progress. The last one is the international context. Most developed countries of today grew with the help of foreign capital in the past, but now the climate for investment in LDCs is not encouraging due to colonial abuses and a strong upsurge of nationalistic feeling and various restrictions imposed by capital importing countries on the kinds and the terms of foreign investment. Added to these are dangers of nationalization and expropriation. This is why, today, the flow of private capital from rich to poor countries is insufficient compared to needs. This hampers the process of growth in as much as economic depends on capital and investment. However, the recent trends toward globalization has led to greater informal of financial capital to LDCs.
A teacher is a role model for his learner. Economics teacher plays a vital role in sustainable national development of any nation, be it developed, developing, or less developed. His major role can be seen in terms of inculcating managerial skills and competencies on the learners. Managerial skills and competencies of organizing, planning, controlling, directing of limited resources is an essential means of enhancing efficient and effective use of limited scarce resources. Economics teacher helps to inculcate managerial skills and competencies on learners that will help them in utilizing such skills for enhancing the productivity in work environment and the society at large. The role of economics teacher can also be understood in terms of preparing the learners for self-reliance. Self-reliance is the extent to which an individual within a given society or nation is able to satisfy his or her needs without depending on another person. In every nation of the world, greater percentage of the average population depends on government for employment opportunities. The resultant effect of this is often increasing in level of unemployment on the aggregate. Economics education prepares an individual to engage in meaningful small and medium scale businesses so as to cater for his or herself without depending on government. Learners will be able to open up a business with knowledge gained from economics education during the teaching or learning process, which will enable him to cater for his needs. The another role of economics teacher is preparing for increased standard of living or welfare of learners. Standard of living refers to the extent to which an individual is able to maintain itself with the basic needs of life. These needs include food, shelter, protection, and clothing. Economics teacher plays a special role of achieving this role by inculcating vital economic perspective on learners or individual that would assist them in the process of catering for their needs by taking into consideration certain economic principles and laws.
The another role is promoting marketability of the learner for the world of work. The world of work is aimed at providing employment opportunities for the ever growing population of any country. In the world of work, employers of labor are predisposed to employ individuals with the needed market values, that is, skills, competencies, worth among others, that will help to increase productivity on the aggregate in the organizations or establishments they are employed. Economics teaching equips an individual to contribute meaningfully to a given organization or establishment he or she is working. In other words, economics education aims an individual for the purpose of being desired by employers of labor. This is due to the needed skill and knowledge transferred to the individual. Another role is encourage learners to make prior contribution to sustainable national development. Education is expected to integrate an individual to the larger society by imparting disposition, skills, and values on him or her that will assist him or her in contributing to the society and the nation at large. Economics teaching helps an individual to contribute his quota for sustaining national development in terms of contributing to the development of the immediate society and the nation at large.
Last but not the least is making learners understand overall concerns of national development. The major concerns of national development are unemployment, poverty, population explosion, increase in mortality rate, illiteracy, low GDP, low per capita income, environmental degradation, technology backwardness, etc. An economics teacher should relate these topics with the economic concepts and theories and should suggest measures to their students as what they can do in overcoming these problems and hindrances. So, at the end, we can say that the role of economics education cannot be underestimated in contemporary society and a nation at large. As observed in the study, economics education is the cornerstone for enhancing sustainable development of any nation of the world. This is due to the fact that it helps to raise the level of manpower development and in standard of living, among others, which are geared towards sustainable national development.
So, these are the references for the topic we have discussed.
Last but the least, let me take a moment to sincerely show my gratitude to all the people who contributed towards this presentation. Thank you, Sujata ma'am, and my classmates Anima, Aishwarya, Soumya, and Gargi. Thank you once again to all the members of the audience for your patience and kind attention. Thank you.